Hey guys,
Hey everybody.
this is not going to be a normal episode at all.
No, not not at all. So I guess why don't you start off with because we've already had some crazy stuff going on. So why don't you just dive right into it?
Well, I can't exactly tell everybody the whole significance of this crystal
Mhm.
because they're going to need to watch a future episode to learn that. But I will say that this whole time we've been trying to get set up to do this, we've been having nothing but Wi Fi issues, nothing but sound issues. I've made like 5 trips up and down the 3 floors of this house.
Right.
And what finally got the sound working was when I put this crystal back in my pocket. And this,
Like that's
go ahead.
so insane. That's so insane.
It is, considering, I mean, we know the significance of this crystal. The people watching this aren't going to know it just yet.
Right.
Even when we think about the way this crystal came to our awareness, it's just really, it's fucked up.
It is. Like I'm still sort of baffled by it. And for anybody that's not yet aware, where we're at is actually the famous Bellaire House. We're here for the weekend shooting an episode, and so the way that this all sort of ensued in itself was crazy. But yeah, we got up. We was like, hey, let's shoot the Crooked Combos episode while we're here, and nothing but technical issues. And literally, we had kind of like hit our last straw, and I was coming up to you to like check it out. And by the time I make it up to the attic, it's back because you just put it in your pocket. Like, what the hell? Like, how do you explain that?
To me, it just further emphasizes the importance of this.
Right.
And
That's
I think
so
we know that
crazy.
somebody really wants to get their hands on it.
That is very true. It's very true. But yeah, so that way we don't give away too much of what this crazy weekend has got us into so far. Um, so we're kind of being theatrical right now because you're up in the attic and I'm down in the basement, which the official title of this project is literally above and below. So it's only right that this is where we're at.
Right. One thing I will say about being in this attic, and I just told you this when we were trying to get set up, it's an entirely different feel up here during the day.
I would say the same about the basement, honestly. Like I don't get any negative feelings right now in either or.
I've been in the basement during the day before, and I would agree with that. This is my first time in the attic during the day. It's like it's not even the same space.
Right.
And I mean, the last thing that, well, I experienced up here last night during my solo, there's no traces of that. Nothing
Right.
feels that way.
Right. It's it's weird and kind of as we were talking about before, filming and everything. I got the heavy vibes of what we talk about when we talk about Egypt Valley, it being completely different between night and day.
Right. I think a big part of what it is, I mean, many people fear the dark. I'm
Right.
not one of them. I love the dark. So many people have this collective feeling about the dark because there's an unknown there
Right.
that I think that in itself has the ability to transform a space, just like Egypt Valley.
I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. It's kind of hard. I don't know what I don't really know too much what to even tell people because I want to just sit here and talk about where this crazy weekend has brought us, even just thus far. But at the same time, like, yeah, as we always say, like, I want people to experience this whenever it eventually, comes out. And there's so many layers to what we've already uncovered, and we're only one night in.
Right. I will throw this out there. I think it's worthwhile when we're done recording to attempt any sort of session, board session, Estes session, whatever. See what comes through during the day when everything feels so different.
I agree. I like that idea.
I would bet that not a lot of people actually explore the energy of this house during the daylight.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
I never really thought about it before until I sat here. God, that could apply to just about any location.
Right. Honestly, I mean, and I like the idea there too because as we've already been told so many times, our emotions feed so much energy. So if you have a natural fear of just something like the dark, that I mean, right there, that's a fuel right there that it can pick up from.
Right. I mean, fear of anything is something that it can pick up on, but the dark is something that's universal. Everyone experiences it.
Right.
I think more people than not at some point in their life have a fear of the dark.
Right.
I don't recall even having that as a kid. I mean, I was a strange child.
Yeah, it's like even in today, like as an adult, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, I'm afraid of the dark. However, I will say like there is still like an uneasy feeling about it because it, like you said, it's the unknown. Like you don't like you can't see anything, so therefore you don't know what's there. So then you start to get this feeling of somebody else is in the room, but then you know that nobody should be in the room with you. So when you start to feel that, there is this uneasy feeling. I'm not going to necessarily say 100% that, like, oh, that's 100% fear, but even just that feeling of uneasiness.
Right. And with that feeling of uneasiness, I think people allow their minds to wander. And then when the
Right.
mind wanders, does it unintentionally create?
Oh, I did. Right. Exactly. Like, we've been told about that how many times?
Makes me think of all these entities from just folklore and urban legends. I can reference a few. I mean, the Hat Man unto himself. We've talked
Right.
about this before. Enough people talk about it, just give it life. Even the general concept of what fuck the boogeyman. Enough
Right.
people talk about it, does it give it life?
Right. Yeah. At what point are people actually manifesting the monsters in which they believe in? And so, like, I guess you can even attribute this to, like, young kids when they talk about, a monster in the closet. You know, is it, is there really something there, or is it something that they have just dreamt of, or is it possible that because they believed in it so much, it became real?
Right.
I think there's a lot of interesting implications to that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we could even take this thought back to the Native Americans and just everything that they believed.
Right.
Did they
Well,
put so much thought into these things that they came to life?
that's like, well, I mean, one of the more famous fables from the Native Americans are the skinwalkers. And you start to think about that, like, did did they literally manifest the skinwalker spirits?
I don't know what just happened. My whole screen just timed out.
That's weird.
That is weird. It shouldn't do that when recording.
That's really, especially you started to talk about the Native Americans, which, I mean, we do know with this house, like, it's pretty heavy with the Native American activity because there's sacred Native American burial grounds like right behind the house.
Right.
So you mentioned the Native Americans, and then all of a sudden, again, technical issues.
Right. And we've recorded from my phone before and it didn't do that.
Right. That's
This is
strange.
so bizarre.
I know. And I mean, it's not like this isn't our first time, not filming an episode from our normal location at home. We've done this before, but this is the first
Right.
time we've come across this many technical issues.
Right. And issues that just shouldn't exist.
Right. That's so strange. And oh yeah, I just and it's sort of like, we're sitting here, we're talking about how it feels different during the day, but at the same time, like, something is still doing something. We wouldn't be having this many technical issues if it was nothing.
Right. So that gets me thinking about whatever it is that's causing these issues. Does everything just feel so much different knowing that if it decided to show itself right now, we'd see it right in the open because everything's lit up versus it
Maybe,
could just be hiding and
maybe see
watching.
it for maybe see it for what it truly is,
Right.
instead of what it wants you to think.
It's still a little odd, the reference to the Native Americans, and my screen times out.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't feel like
and
that's because of the Native Americans.
no, I think it was in reaction to.
Correct. That's how I feel.
And if you remember, something that we were told previously to coming here was that we were going to be relying on the Native Americans, and
Right.
it's not something that we've even talked about while being here yet.
No, we haven't. I think there's things that have to be done first.
No, but even just in the idea though that, like, maybe that's a sign for, like, that we need to remember that. You know what I mean? Because what, like, because if nothing would have happened there, we would have blown by that and not paid any attention to it.
Right.
But the moment you say it, something happens, so it catches our attention, and maybe that was literally all that was meant to do, was catch our attention to say, hey, like, hey, remember that you were told that you're going to be talking to the Native Americans something, relying on them something when we were here. We haven't even mentioned or remembered, at least on my part, and then that happens. I think that's more of maybe just a sign to keep that in mind.
Ah, that was my fault. I jumped because there's something. There's like ladybugs everywhere all of a sudden. Last night it was flies up here. Now it's ladybugs.
Right.
I don't like things that fly. as they learned Friday night at the poor Valleydale Ballroom. I've got to tell that story for anybody
go ahead
watching
and tell that
this.
story.
Anybody that knows anything about me knows that I can't fucking stand bats. I hate them with every fiber of my being. They terrify me. They especially terrify me when they turn up somewhere they're not supposed to be. It's one thing when one almost hits me in the face in the middle of the Indiana State Sanatorium. I know damn well that they're all over the place there. When it happens, it doesn't mean I'm going to be okay with it. But at least there's a part of me that's always prepared that it's a possibility. Friday night, after going ballroom dancing with a number of my students and going up the stairs to get my coat and almost being hit in the face by a bat. Not the same as when it happens at ISS. There was nothing in me that was ready for this. I had to have someone else get my coat for me. I had to go out a different exit because I would not go back upstairs. And then I sat in my car and I cried before I drove home. And that actually inspired me to do some very deliberate work surrounding fear before I came here.
Right.
And I mean, other than bats, I'm not a fearful person.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot that scares me. Things other people turn away from, I run toward.
Right.
But knowing the magnitude of what we were going to be facing here, I did some very deliberate work surrounding fear before I came here. Because I think what's here, I think it does more than just take hold of your fears. I think it finds ways to create new fears.
Right. That makes sense. It takes things that are already present and then continues to twist it.
Interesting choice of words, considering how that came up last night.
No, that's why I said it like that, because of what was said last night.
Right.
And it's so interesting. There's this the conversations we've even just had since the moment we woke up today, like the implications or possible implications of everything that we're learning from this investigation are monumental.
Oh, I agree. And when you take that and apply it to, I mean, one, the conversation we had yesterday, two, the post I made on our Facebook page about how this symbolizes endings and beginnings.
Right.
This idea of beginnings, what we take away from this weekend will impact everything we do moving forward.
Right.
There's so many things that are relevant to me time-wise. Just the fact that we're here in February, and it was February that we met at FCI, and you mentioned this house, and it got my attention.
Right. Yeah, that in and of itself is symbolic.
Right. So many things about timelines. And I'm even going to throw this out there because I don't think this will ruin anything for people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's listened to us knows what happened to me when I slept up here in this attic.
Right.
And how I came downstairs, looked in the bathroom mirror, my eyes were black. They're about to learn a lot more about that in the very near future. Now I'm paranoid that my screen's going to time out again. So if you see me just poking at it randomly, it's because I don't want that to happen. We found out last night that Alexander Hetherington was declared insane on December 13th. And December 13th is the night I was here and that happened to me.
And literally the weekend that we're getting ready to come here is Friday the 13th.
Right. One thing I will say, in descriptions of the house and promotions for the house, I've read things about this house being something that remembers every person that walks in its doors or every soul that walks in its doors. I believe that.
Right.
I think it does.
I would believe that too.
And I think many people are able to get in and out simply having been observed, but not really noticed.
Right.
I would say it's anyone with any sort of deep spiritual connectedness that this house truly notices.
Right.
And maybe it even knows ahead of time that those people are coming. I'm sure it knew we were coming.
I definitely knew we were coming.
Right. I'll leave this up to you.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the fishing line right now?
Yeah. I actually was thinking about bringing that up before you even said it. So yeah, I I think this is not only something that should be talked about, but I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And I guess I'll sort of start it off because this happened or started, I should say, from like literally the first 5 minutes that we got here. So we get here, and we're literally just getting bags into the front seance room of the house, and my dad is going around the table, the seance table in that room, and he's trying to move this little chair that's like around the table, and it's getting caught on something, and all of a sudden he looks down and he picks up the bottom of the chair has got fishing line tied to the chair, and for anybody that is in this field knows exactly what that's for. And to me, that is one of the most disgusting things that I could see on a paranormal investigation. Because, like, I might disagree with certain ways and things that people do things, but that's okay. I'm not always right. You know, People have their own way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. But whenever you see the possibility of somebody purposely faking paranormal activity, because that's what that's for, and you can't convince me otherwise. Why fishing line at the bottom of a chair other than to make the illusion that a chair is moving to fake paranormal activity? And it's so fucking disgusting, because that's exactly why the paranormal community has such a bad name, and nobody believes it because of shit like that.
Right. And I mean, let's think of the different directions from which this could come. There's the possibility that someone connected with the house did that.
Right.
There's the possibility that there was a team here filming and they did it.
Right.
We may never know which it was, but I can't see how anybody connected with the house could benefit from that. I just don't
I
feel
agree.
like
Yeah,
they're not here with the teams.
right,
Who would they be doing that for?
right.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And even when I think of what was it we were talking about? There's something coming out on Scare Network about the house.
Oh, so yeah, so there's a movie that's coming out about the house. And funny enough, we also, if people remember, back on the episode that we talked about the Bellaire House, and there are sort of discrepancies with it about the marketing and stuff of it, we actually discovered that that whole thing that I had seen about the person being drawn to the house and breaking into the Bellaire House was from that movie that's coming out on Scare Network. It's so I already had issues with that story just alone because there's a lot of things we talked about. Like for me, again, because the amount of teams that are in and out of this house, you can't convince me that some random dude was just hiding in here and nobody noticed him. You just can't convince me of it.
Right.
And so I already had that sort of thing. But then we come in here and we see that. And so like I'm not necessarily trying to call out anybody specifically, only for the reason that I don't know who did it. I have no proof of who did it. If
All
I
right. Right
knew,
now
I
we're just go ahead. I'm
if
sorry.
I knew, I'd blast it all over. Because again, like I think that is so disgusting that I would blast you all over the place if I knew who did it. But I have nobody to really pin this on. So therefore, I don't want to I don't want to tie it, or that's actually a good way to say it. I don't want to tie this fishing line to somebody that it doesn't belong to. But
Right.
hell, I could sit here and say, what if it's Scare Network that did it? Because hell, they're the ones that I'm already like sort of like how how much do I believe what they're putting out there? Because I question that story about the weird dude that was breaking into the Bellaire house. I already questioned that story. So how hard is it for me to be like, oh well, they might have been doing stuff like that for this film?
And that's why I brought them up because
Right,
you're right. But even my gut says what they recorded, if this is like ready to come out, they recorded that a while ago.
right,
Why? How has that not been removed
right.
by
So then
now?
it brings you back to square one because you're like, man, how long ago was that? So you would think it had to be more recent.
Right. Otherwise, I would think between when that was recorded and now, any number of teams could have found that. There'd be something out there about it. Somebody would have said something.
Right,
And I searched yesterday and saw nothing.
right. So
So,
you would think that it had to be something more recent.
right. To me, this points toward a team that was here and was using it to fake activity on camera.
Right. And and it's one of those things that as a paranormal investigator that does film, I can see how easy it would be to do it because everybody's going to use the like, oh well, it's going to be obvious that somebody's pulling something on fishing lines. Like no, it really isn't going to be because camera angles are a huge thing. I can position a camera angle to not show certain things, and then it's going to look natural as hell. And I get so disgusted by it because I'm literally telling you and showing you how it can be faked while also trying to convince you through my work and our work that we're not faking anything, right? But we
Right.
already do some unconventional things that a lot of teams don't really do. So I feel like for us, we're already in a position where we're trying to convince people that hey, what we're doing is legit. That's why we tell people like, hey, come out and investigate with us personally so you can see that we're doing this stuff in real time and stuff like that. So it's really frustrating when you're already trying to gain that sort of trust in an audience, but then you have stuff like this happen, and it just adds again to the illegitimacy of paranormal research, and it just really disgusts me when I see it.
Same. And I mean, let's throw out there too that this morning in the kitchen, I found another piece of fishing line.
You did. So there's not just one piece that we found, there's two. And we weren't even looking for it. That's the thing. We found those two things and we weren't even looking for it. So now I'm curious of like how much I actually go through with a fine toothpick. How much am I going to find? I don't know who's responsible, but it makes me sick. And it's kind of like I'm with you. I'm in agreement that while I'm not necessarily going to say it can't be the people that are personally involved in this house, I also don't want to throw that out. But I don't see the gain from it, because especially from a location like where you're trying to sell this place as being a haunted location, if you get found out for fake activity, it it doesn't make sense.
Right. And I don't think they need to do that. This place has a reputation that carries itself.
Right.
It's
Like this place is
profoundly
haunted.
haunted.
Yeah, this place is haunted. There's no doubt about that. That's the thing. You don't need to fake evidence here.
Right.
So and again, okay, so back to the idea of the team thing, because that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. That to me feels and sounds the most reliable as an answer, and it's kind of
Right.
like, yeah, obviously this place is haunted as all get out, but something that you don't see a lot from any place or just in paranormal investigating in like period are like bigger objects like a chair moving. So that's where I'm sort of like, yeah, I could definitely see somebody trying to fake that, especially because imagine you're one of the only teams that has caught a chair moving, physically moving in a haunted location. Because from experience, I'll tell you what, it's not common. I would say it's probably one of the most rare things. If you catch that genuinely, that not only is a super powerful spirit, but that was a super powerful moment in and of itself.
Right. I know myself. I'm going to be digging and looking for every video and every piece of content that comes out about this house. And if I see something with there's a chair moving.
Right. And then you're even in a position where you're like, because again, I'm not saying it's not possible, because I'm sure it is. But then you're going to be sitting there and you're like, was that a genuine moment, or are these the people that did it?
Right.
And I feel like it's kind of like, dude, I tell you what, like if I get an inclination that I think it's them or I know it's them, like I'd be blasting that shit all over the place because I hate that so much.
Right.
I hate whenever you come across something that's fake activity.
Right. Yeah, I don't think in all my years I've ever seen a piece of furniture move like that.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like I know even just theoretically, yeah, it's possible because like you'll see like little items be moved. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like that to me makes a lot more sense. But like something large like that, I've never personally seen it. So therefore, that's why if it is real, I know it's rare.
Right.
But I don't want to throw out the possibility that it's not because I'm sure it is. It's just that whatever if that legitimately does happen to somebody, that not only is a super powerful spirit, but it's just a super powerful moment. There's something about the energy that there's so much energy they were able to do something like that, which is very, very rare.
Right. I will say the stove in the kitchen at the Paulding jail often gets moved. Like, we'll wake up in the morning and come down to the kitchen for coffee, and the stove's at an angle.
Right. But I think also, as you'll attest to this, Paulding has got some different types of energies in that house too.
Oh, there's nothing else like it.
Like, so therefore, to me, that might make I would be more inclined to believe it there because of what I know the types of energies that occupy that space.
Right.
So so yeah, it just I don't even know, dude. I'm at a loss for words because I feel like I'm so disgusted by that whole thing. Like I don't even know how to put into words, or at least I don't know how to put it into nice words. I'll put it that way. I can sit here and tell you I can sit, but there's no need to like get into it that way. But it's just like, come on now, really.
Right.
So I'm like you. I feel like during the day, especially when it's a lot easier to see, I'm gonna be sitting here like looking around. I've even been looking around down here while I've been down here to like see if I end up seeing anything because I'm just like we found those two things and wasn't even really looking for it.
Right. My mind is blown too that somebody would just be that sloppy that they wouldn't clean up after themselves.
Right. We had a conversation about that too, because like you would think if you are trying to fake something, that you'd be really good about cleaning up after everything. So therefore, is it something that was planted to therefore add illegitimacy to what's going on here? To put that sort of thought into somebody's mind. We kind of
Right.
played around with that theory.
I think you should go ahead and expand on that. Explain what we talked about because you're the one who came up with that, and I think you should go into that.
Okay. So basically, to explain what I was getting at, so as I think anybody can sort of relate to, whenever you get into conversations of things like religion, there are always very strong opinions that everybody has versus whatever religion that it is that they practice. And there are some people that they kind of go about life consistently trying to push their religion or their ideals on everybody else. And so I had this idea that like if you had somebody that was a huge we'll just say Christian for just as an example because with this house specifically, it's very well known for having a demon in the house. So, as anybody that is familiar with anything about the Christian religion, you can see how, yeah, okay, so there's a demon in the house that obviously ties into the Christian religion. So, I could see somebody that is super religious looking at this house and the demon in it. And at first, their thought would be like, how do I cast this demon out so it can't prey on any more people? And eventually, they would realize that they can't cast it out. And so then their thought process could be that, well, since I can't get rid of the demon, what if I help people by making a way in which they don't want to come back to this house? And so they're like, oh, I've got an idea. Like, what if I go in and I plant certain things like fishing line that are known to be fake paranormal activity in the house. So that way, people like us would come in and would see that and we'd be like, oh, that's fake paranormal activity. This house isn't actually haunted. They're faking the entire thing. And so we would leave and never come back to this place because in our heads we're like, oh yeah, the paranormal is fake. Like they're faking this whole thing. And in that person's mind, they believe what they just did was a really good thing because they just saved somebody from being preyed on by the demon here. And it's that was basically my general idea with that. And it's kind of like, first of all, if there's anybody here that's watching that and can relate to that, all I can really say about that is I understand if your intentions you believe are good, but it's kind of like one of those things that, like, because I might not agree with your religion and you don't want me to push my ideals onto you, it's kind of like do the same thing. Like kind of like the golden phrase of like treat people how you want to be treated. It's kind of the same thing. Like, don't push things on people that you don't want to be pushed onto you. So if you're not willing to accept my ideals and the way I think about things, don't force those type of things on other people, even if you think the intentions of it are good. Allow people to do their own thing with it. So that was basically my idea on that. And the more and more I said on that, it's like, yeah, I could see that being a possibility, but I don't know.
It's worth putting it out there.
I think there's
I
a
mean, I
lot
think
of
that's
different. Go ahead.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that's become a big part of what we do, putting our crazy theories out
That's definitely true.
there.
That's definitely true. I mean, I call it as I see it. You know,
Right.
I'm not one to be bashful on that type of stuff. I'm going to call it as I see it.
Right.
And I wish I knew what it was, because then at least I could explain it or bring it to light. You know, I hate not knowing what it was that did this. And I just, oh my, like any way I think about it, it just disgusts me in some sort of way.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing good that comes of it.
It's kind of like if it was a thing where, like, say we're in a location that isn't haunted at all, right? And you're filming a movie, like a scary movie, right? That's the only location I would be okay. That's like, okay, that's okay. It's not a known haunted location, you know what I mean? And you're
Right.
making a movie that is supposed to be fiction. Like, you're not saying like, hey, this is legitimate paranormal activity. This, you're making a movie that you're essentially saying, hey, this is fiction that's just depicting whatever. But whenever you do it in a place like this, even if Scare Network was to come out and say like, "Hey, our movie's fiction, whatever," but we filmed it in this location, there's still a layer of me that doesn't like that, because you're taking something that is trying to be legitimized as something as proof of the actual paranormal, and then you're adding that twist into there that adds that ever so slight thought in the back of people's mind of like, well, what if it is all fake? You know,
Right.
even that little bit of a twist adds that sort of effect, and so therefore nobody watching anything could believe in anything that they see.
Right.
So I don't even like that. It's kind of like, go film those things at non-haunted locations. They're out there. Go film them there. Like, but the Bellaire House has such a staple name on it that most people, most people, you say the Bellaire House, they know what you're talking about. They may have never been there, but they've probably seen it somewhere. Somebody did an episode on it. So, somebody, made a movie about it. Something. They saw a post about it.
Right.
It is such a staple name that I think, people use it as people. I mean, hell, you could even say I'm guilty of using it for clicks, because we talk about the Bellaire House for that one episode, and hell, we're doing it today because we're here and we're talking about it. And I know that typically, whenever you say the Bellaire House, it gets people to like click on it.
Right.
It's just the difference is I'm trying to convince you that, hey, there is no smoke and mirrors here. Like, it's all real. Like, I'm trying to be as genuine as possible. But then you have stuff like that you come across, and people see that stuff, and that's how people debunk things and whatever. And even if something's not something that's easily debunkable, it's once you put that little bit of mistrust in the back of somebody's mind, they'll never believe anything you say.
Right.
They'll never believe anything. And that's why oh, I hate that stuff so much, because we're already like, because as much as a lot of people may not want to look at the paranormal this way, we really are a pseudoscience. We have a hypothesis about something, and then you go out in the field and perform experiments in order to try and prove your hypothesis. So it is a pseudoscience, but it's already not accepted by any sort of legitimate science and anything like that. So we're already fighting for the legitimacy that I think we deserve. So you add that to the mix, and all of a sudden now it's a big old mess.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to be looking for videos to see if there's anything about moving chairs.
I know. Like that's the thing is, I feel like not even while we're here, the next few weeks, who knows, maybe even months, I'm going to be sitting there looking for it to try and find it.
Makes me wonder too what that does to the energy of a house.
That's a fair question.
A house that, to me, what's here is well known to be deceptive.
Right.
You're feeding it with the energy of deception.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got to love that stuff.
Right.
As much as you would think, oh, like, well, no, the spirits are like wanting to be like found and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, some spirits, but some spirits, like the demon in this house, like it preys on deception and negativity. So like it's feeding on the deception. It's feeding off of my angry feelings right now. That's what it
Right.
wants. It's what it wants.
I mean, for the demon, it's a win-win.
It honestly is. It is. The more and more you kind of sit on it and think about it, yeah, there's not really much more I guess I can really say about it that I haven't already said. It's just, oh my god, I can't even wrap my head around just why.
Which gets me thinking too, whoever did that, again, let's just say it was a team that came here and did it for filming. Did the demon know that they were coming and that they were going to do that? And that it was essentially going to be fed? Or did someone come here and that wasn't their intention? They weren't going to do anything like that. But then somebody had sudden inspiration.
Right.
Did the demon inspire it? Because that's what it thrives off of, is deception.
Right. Right. I could see that. I mean, that's a very a big possibility as far as somebody doesn't have that intention, but all of a sudden they have something influencing them, and then all of a sudden that's what they do. And that's kind of a tricky thing too, because you could sit here and be like, oh well, just don't do that. Don't be easy to deception. But I don't I don't think it's that easy. Like it's just not. Like sometimes you don't know you're being fooled.
Right.
In that manner, I'm kind of like, I don't know, because like my example for this would have been like, oh well, like look at me, like I talked about many times before even coming to this house, like, hey, we got to keep our emotions in check, can't get too angry, like, and yeah, I'm angry right now, so it's kind of like, oh, I could be falling for the deception and stuff like that, whatever, but at the same time, like to me, that's a huge difference there. Like I don't know at what point you're tying fishing line to a chair and then moving it to fake paranormal activity that you wouldn't be like, yeah, this feels kind of wrong, unless you were okay with it.
Right.
There's levels that I think they can deceive you, but at the same time, I'm like, I think there's a level in which it's like, no, there was a point where you gave into it. You were okay with it. If you weren't okay with that as your moral compass as a person, there would have been a point where you would have been like, I probably shouldn't do this.
Right. So again, going with the idea that this is something that the demon planted, it would have to know that it would have an in for that to be done.
Right.
I don't think
Plus, I mean,
what's here would waste its time and its energy trying to get us to do that shit because
right,
it knows it would never go.
right,
So it looks for someone that it knows it's got the in
right,
for that to happen.
right. I agree. I agree with that.
I mean, if it started poking me in the ear and saying, "Hey, do this," I'd readily say, "Fuck off."
Right.
And I think it
Right.
knows that. It wouldn't waste its time and energy. It's got different sights set on me.
Well, this is one of the houses that we've said how
I
many
hate what
times,
I
like,
just said, by the way.
oh yeah, right.
I hate that. I wish I hadn't said that. All right, go with that thought. Go ahead. What you were just saying. I'm sorry.
But yeah, just I agree with you. I think it wouldn't waste its time, and as we've said how many times before, this is one of the locations that it knows and is able to pick apart personal things about people. So it would see that from just observing people when they first come in here, it would know. It wouldn't take it much time to know, hey, this is a person that I can sort of manipulate a little bit, but they're going to go with it.
Right. There's just so many different trains of thought that could come from that.
Right. I agree. But, and unfortunately, it's kind of like, I don't necessarily like for our crooked combos to just be as in a negative light as necessarily this one has been. But at the same time, it's unfortunate because that's what has happened while we've been here that we can talk about and I want to talk about. But the other stuff that is good about what we've done so far, I'm really just like, as always, like, I want to put it out there for people to watch, and then once it's out there, we're going to talk about it.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, there's not really much else I think that I can really comment on that I don't want people to like experience in the actual film that eventually comes out.
Right. No, I agree.
Unfortunately,
I
but
will say that I think once it does all come together, it's going to be something very different for everybody.
yeah, yeah,
And this whole idea of this being symbolic of endings and beginnings, there's no way to overstate that.
right. There's a lot of layers just to that right there.
It's occurring to me that so much of what is going to go into this video, people haven't seen yet.
Right.
Because much of it really comes out with the Ross House series,
Once
which is what you're
it's
working
like
on right now.
the Ross House series, the one that I'm working on right now is kind of like the really big beginning because yeah, there's little sprinkles of it before, and it's from the literally the beginning, and I think we kind of talked about that at one point that like literally from the beginning of our very first series that we put out there, the Bill Manor, it started, or I want to say the road that we're on for today and this weekend, it really, really ramped up there because that was where we got the mention of the 9 location, the 9 shadows. Ed was there because my friend Gage was there with the investigation. So like that really set the tone. And then there were sprinkles of it as we went along the way. Like we essentially determined that like the Stark Saloon was one of the 9 locations and stuff like that. And obviously, yeah, it's built from that point on. But I agree that the Ross House and then onwards is where it really starts to vamp up in the sense of things really start to come together. And for those that don't know, obviously she's not on the podcast with us, but we had patients with us again last night, and it was only it was only right to do it that way because Patience was on the last investigation with us, which will be the episode that will come out before this one, which is our investigation of the Prospect Place. And Patience was the one that discovered a very key detail that we essentially were missing. And we discovered at that investigation, and she was the one to do so. So it only made sense to have her come out and join us for night one. And yeah, just without getting too much into the specific details, the setup of night one is monumental for what we're getting ready to do tonight. It's insane.
For sure.
But yeah, I agree. I agree. I think when the Ross House series comes out, that's going to be the moment that really starts to vamp things up, I think.
Absolutely. Best we can tell people is keep watching.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we've said from day one, we're trying to grow in the best way possible for not only our channel but us personally and spiritually. And I genuinely really enjoy everything that we do here, and I'm so appreciative for everybody that tunes in and watches and has stuck by us at this point, and anybody that's new watching. I hope you like what you see. I hope you go back and look at our old stuff, and I hope you stick around for what we've got coming down the road because it's only going to get better and better for us. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
I want to throw out there too that our last episode got an extraordinary number of views compared to our normal episode views.
Yeah.
We haven't quite figured out what did it, but either way, thank you to everybody that took the time to watch, to click, whatever it was. We so appreciate you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like again, yeah, you said it perfectly. Like we've gotten a so much larger number of views on our last episode, and we've literally been talking about like, man, what was it that we did differently this time that maybe was working? Like we tried out a new thumbnail for some of the more art style that I think we're trying to go towards as far as our visuals and stuff like that. And then I thought we had a really interesting topic last week with the title and everything. And it's kind of like we thought about, is it a combination of everything? Which that's obviously what I think we all would agree it has to be a combination of something. But yeah, just thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this. We genuinely love sitting here and conversating with you. If we didn't, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right. I mean, if what got the extra clicks was me spewing my crazy theories, I'm down to do more of that. I can always come up with more crazy theories.
Right. But as always, yeah, like thanks for tuning in. Today was a little bit more of a negative, I guess, in the topic that we're bringing out, but I think it's an important thing to talk about. I think this is something that needs to be brought aware of, that it's out there, and to well, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
She's gone.
I'll just keep.
Well, as
I didn't even, it wasn't the screen that time. I got booted.
wow.
Like I was just removed from the stage.
Well, as everybody can see, I guess we're still having technical issues, or something's trying to end our stream here. So I guess maybe we were kind of at a closing point anyway, so maybe we should just go ahead and wrap it up, since something apparently is trying to get our attention. But again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please please, we hope you like what you see. Please continue to stick with us because it's going to get great. But we really are just appreciative of everything that everybody does for us in the paranormal outside. Just thank you so very much. Like, we're so appreciative.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Until next time, guys. Bye.
See you next time.